Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, no matter where you're watching this presentation from. Michael Firth's my name, and we're going live in just one moment on YouTube and Facebook and in the Zoom room. So this is the 30-second timer to let you know, to let anybody know who's joining on the presentation. We'll be live shortly. Alrighty, welcome online, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Firth, and I'm actually one of the founding Field Advisory Board members of Neumi, and it's my pleasure to be your presenter today. I've got the beautiful assistant, Phoebe Wallace in Perth, helping me let people in the room as we get the presentation underway today. So just a bit of background before we get into the presentation. If you do not speak fluent English, I do speak fast, I've been told. You can go to the bottom of the screen here in Zoom and you can click closed captions and you can select your language so that you can attempt to keep up with my conversation as we go through today. Having said that, I love the fact that we are in 74 markets around the world. Right now, we're live streaming on YouTube, on Facebook, in the Zoom room. And so with that in mind, no matter where you're watching us from, even if it's on the playback, do us a favor, type in where you're watching us from right now, because I'd love to see how many countries we touch as we do this live event. Having said all of that, let me start first with my background before we get into the presentation, just so you know who's presenting to you. Because sometimes if I'm watching a presentation, I often think to myself, who is this person? How do they qualify to talk on the topic? How do I know they know what they're talking about? So a little bit of background. I was one of the founding advisory board members who helped start the company. In fact, I helped find the investors for this breakthrough 7 years ago, way before Neumi started. And one of my friends is the number one, or number two, I should say, investor, other than our founder, Steve Scott. But if you go back 17 years ago, I was a national sales coach in the mortgage industry, and I was looking after a few thousand mortgage brokers, teaching them sales and marketing. And I loved my job with a passion. Maybe type in yes if you love what you do, because I loved it. The problem is, as I went up through the corporate world, the more money you earn, the less life you have. And I found my kids, in fact, my daughter said to me, "Dad, we hardly see you." And I had a bit of a moment 17 years ago where I thought, what am I doing? You know, we build our jobs to help the kids and then we're away from the kids, which is crazy. So someone came to me with a glutathione nutritional breakthrough 17 years ago. And I don't give ridiculous projections, no Lamborghinis and Ferraris. It was just, I replaced my income in the corporate world at the top entirely with about 20% of the time input that I had when I was married to my job. And so I was a convert of this industry from that day forward. So what's the relevance of that 17 years ago? Well, the founder of that company was a gentleman by the name of Steve Scott. Steve and I became very close friends. And as a result, that's how I end up here today, helping Steve find the investors and helping him create the tools and kick off this amazing opportunity you're going to hear about now. So let's get into it. So firstly, I want to say that our company, who are we? We are the trailblazers. You know, we're the innovators. We have something no one else in the world has anything remotely like. We're dedicated to revolutionizing health and wellness through our cutting edge technology, which is called HydraStat Molecular Encapsulation Delivery System. You hear more about that. So what is HydraStat? That's what the conversation's about. That's what makes us unique. Essentially, we've addressed problems. And one of the biggest problems facing the world is poor absorption rates. I don't know if you know this, but 90%, according to the experts, of oral supplements that you take go straight through and spend their lives in the toilet and the very expensive urine. So this means only a fraction of nutrients are actually getting to the cells where they need it. So that's been a huge problem as long as we've all been alive, and people have looked at different ways to try and improve that, unfortunately, without much result till now. So HydraStat is transforming health with our breakthrough science, and it sets us apart. Like I said, there's nothing like it in the market. So let's talk about the three things that make us different before we get into it. Number one, cell size. You'll see a little diagram at the bottom that shows a little tiny speck, which is ours, and then human cell being bigger, and then theirs meaning all other ingredients. So just give you a quick science lesson. Neumi's molecular ingredients are between 10 and 100 millimicrons. What's that? Well, a millimicron is a nanometer, so 10 nanometers. Let me give you a perspective. My human hair, there's one, you can't even see it, is actually 80 to 100,000 millimicrons. If you want to penetrate the blood-brain barrier, you need to be down to 30 to 20 to 30 millimicrons. All the other technologies, liposomals, even a new one I saw the other day that claims to be the same, they're about 50, 60 nanometers, which means it's like standing on the outside of a nightclub going knock, knock, knock on members night. Can I come in? No. The only people allowed in tonight are the Neumi members because they are the only ones down to 10 nanometers that can actually absorb into a human cell. So the conversation ends there when we're talking about any other technologies because nothing can get into the cells, okay? So moving on, the second thing is actually the surface area, just to put it in context so you can understand. So essentially, a nutrition molecule touches a cell, and that's where it gets absorption. It's called forced diffusion. In our case, when we nanosize, we can get 200 times greater surface contact, which means our product is doing, you know, you've heard it say before, size doesn't matter. Well, the smaller it is, the more powerful it is when it comes to our product, okay? Finally, how do we deliver that? We deliver it in ultra purified water clusters. Now, this is a uniqueness that is a part patent, part trade secret, which means no one will ever be able to unravel how we do what we do. And so it means using ultra purified water, we don't have the toxicity that older technologies like liposomals do when they're trying to achieve the same result with larger particles using fats. So it's really pure. In fact, it's purer than a hospital IV. So when we get into that, these are the three things. So you can see with all those three put together, as I said, nothing else comes close. Three key differences behind our delivery method. Now that we're able to get product to the cells, let's talk about the power of glutathione. This is one of the first ingredients that I heard about 17 years ago. So what is this word glutathione we keep talking about? It's the master antioxidant of your body. It's the protector, the detoxifier of your cells. It's the key to life, to health, performance in sports. You'll hear some amazing stories in a minute. Protection of the cells, longevity of every human cell. In fact, if you didn't have glutathione in your cells right now, you would be dead. Simple as that. So glutathione is one of the most studied molecules in the world. These slides are a bit outdated. They're only months old. There's now over 196,000 peer-reviewed studies. If you took every other ingredient except for vitamin D, put them together, you wouldn't come close to the peer-reviewed studies, all of them together, as you will with glutathione. In fact, if you took vitamin D, it doesn't even come as close. So it's the most studied molecule in the world, and companies have been trying to work out for decades, how do we get this into the cells? And it's been a futile operation where, unfortunately, absorption rates have impacted their products, and today we've solved that, okay? So what do doctors have to say? Well, the most powerful antioxidant you've probably never heard of. It's the key to fighting off diseases you fear the most, called glutathione. Write it down because it's critically important. That's Dr. Oz, who's heavily involved in health and wellness these days in the US, as you've probably seen. If you're chronically run down, if you're chronically fatigued, if your body isn't firing on all cylinders, low glutathione must be part of it, or maybe the cause and the effect. And that's Dr. David Katz from the director of Yale University's Prevention Research Center. So in your body, as you age, and I'm turning 57 in about 4 weeks from now, guess what? Your glutathione levels drop from about 18 to 20 years of age. And that's normal, okay? There's nothing you can do about it. That's called being healthy and eventually dying. So continuous attacks on your cells by the invasion of toxins, heavy metals, exposure to radiation, like EMF signals, free radicals, cause damage and expedite the aging process. So glutathione levels are also reduced by any trauma to the cells, like injuries, infections, and diseases. If you smoke, if you drink, right? No one's ever done that. These will all impact it even more. So you can see the two lines on the right, oxidative stress, the light blue line going up, and glutathione levels dropping that way. When the two cross, it opens the door for nasty things that we all call aging, and you know, our health goes down the toilet. So if you can keep your glutathione levels optimal, the body can do what it did when you're 18. Do you remember how you're 18 and you felt like you could jump a building in a single bound? I remember those days fondly. And I remember when I first supplemented with glutathione in my 40s, because I'm turning 57, that'll be 17 years ago, I suddenly felt 10 years younger almost instantaneously. So higher levels are associated with extensive number of health, performance, and anti-aging benefits. Here are the signs of low glutathione. Tell me if you've ever experienced any of these. Weakened immune system, physical and mental fatigue, muscle weakness, aches, inflammation, premature aging and disease, dull or dry skin, grey hair or balding, brain fog, headaches, digestive issues, allergies, weight gain. All of these things are signs of low glutathione. Here are some signs of high glutathione: boosted immune system, sustained mental and physical energy, optimal athletic performance, balanced inflammation, delayed aging and disease, healthy, radiant skin, decreased graying and balding, balanced digestion, reduced allergic reactions, and weight management. So who wouldn't want all those benefits? Now, when we look at our product, remember, normally if you take glutathione as an oral supplement, it'll get destroyed by the digestive process. So we're circumventing that by getting it through, swishing in the mouth like a mouthwash, into the bloodstream in 30 seconds, into your organs in 70 seconds. So first thing I want to say is that products are not designed to treat, cure, and prevent any disease. In fact, you won't hear a disease word come out of the mouth of any Neumi members because we're not about doing that. Having said that, your body can do some amazing things. So here's a problem. Your glutathione levels decrease with age, as we've said, and there's no practical way of getting it into the cells, not efficiently. So we've solved that with NutraSwish. So using HydraStat, we didn't just take glutathione, we gave you cysteine, as cysteine is a building block of glutathione to help the body produce more. Curcumin and other ingredients like vitamin C work together with glutathione to make it even more potent. So you literally just take off the lid, swish it in your mouth like a mouthwash. So there's a lid and then there's a little cap. You fill up that, which is 2 of these. And there are 30 of these in every bottle, to mean an average person can use 1 bottle of product every month and boom, you've boosted your levels instantaneously. So with that in mind, what does that mean? Well, it means immune system boost, joint support, clean and sustained energy, rapid recovery. Let's just talk about the clean and sustained energy one for one moment. We have a gentleman that was taking what I would call an older style of glutathione supplement, you know, an old-fashioned capsule where you'd take that and hopefully produce glutathione. In his 50s, he busted all the world records as a powerlifter. Awesome. And we saw his graph from his 20s. When he turned 62, we'd just discovered this new breakthrough and we thought, what would happen? You know, maybe he could lift the same as he did when he was 50. Well, guess what happened? He ended up lifting 517 kilograms in a bench press, smashing every world record. I saw the other day a network marketing nutrition supplement that's been around for a long time. And they said, well done on this young guy who's just broken a world record in his category at 270 kilograms. I'm like, hang on. At 52, we just had someone do 517 kilograms. So you can see the difference is poles apart compared to any other supplement delivery method in terms of results. So then the other problem is skincare rarely gets past the first layer of the skin. A friend of mine's a skincare educator. She says we teach all the beauty therapists that only 0.03% of products get through the first layer of the skin. So we've solved that because of the particle size. So we take glutathione, but we also take hyaluronic acid, which helps attract moisture to the skin and plump it. Curcumin, which is an antiviral. Collagen, which is like the springs in your mattress to keep your mattress tight, keeps your skin tight. And what happens? Helps reduce pore size, smooths skin texture, lifts and firms, brightens and evens the tone, reduces the fine line and wrinkle appearance, and fights skin aging pollutants. What's another problem? Hey, type in yes if you know any young person taking energy drinks. It's scary. They're full of toxins and they're so bad for their health. So we've taken a clean energy approach. So this product is endorsed by the American Brain Council. And what it has in it is a little bit of glutathione, but it has more brain ingredients. It has arginine, magnesium gluconate, L-theanine, a little tiny bit of caffeine. And I take this in combination with the other product, and then I go to the gym and at 57 pushing out personal best all the time, but it's really meant for the brain. So it's about enhancing memory, improving mood, increasing focus, and rapid energy with none of the negative effects that you hear about with people taking those toxic energy drinks. So another problem is that there's a lot of environmental disruptors in the world giving negative effects to women's health and hormones. Now, this product's not live in every market, but it has a double-blind placebo-controlled test proving that about 80% of the women had eliminated hot flashes, mood swings, increased libido, and got rid of period cramping and all those things that go along with it. And this is huge. So these are the results that people talk about, as you can see on the screen. Pretty much most of those I just covered. So amazing product. And for the gentleman, what's the benefit to you? Well, my wife was taking it and it was great. That's all I can say. Happy wife, happy life. So moving on, let's give you some real feedback. Now, this good-looking young man has great genes. That's my son in Melbourne, 24-year-old, powerlifting athlete, personal trainer, and gym manager. He takes after his father in his good looks, but he does not take after his father with his muscles, as you can see, right? He's like me, stung by 1,000 bees. So he said in week 3, his training recovery into each session was great. No soreness, already hitting personal best. Week 4, he said, I'm just at a personal best of 270 kilos in double deadlifts, in 2 reps of deadlift. Again, remember, now he's just started using it in his 20s, yet Bill Gillespie, 62, bench pressed 570 kilograms. Holy smokes. Next example. This is Danae, one of the daughters of one of my awesome friends, 34-year-old, homeschooling mum, busy. And she said she immediately found she had more energy with the NutraSwish, but when she got on the HERS product, she got rid of her mood swings, bloating, breast tenderness, and all her PMS symptoms disappeared. This is a great friend of mine from New Zealand, who's one of the founding members of New Zealand, Greg from Christchurch, 58-year-old in pool constructing. When he was in his 20s, he would do cycling because he was a competitive mountain bike cyclist. And he said, I'd do half-day events and I'm spent. He says, now at 58, I can do an entire event. This is crazy in his 58-year-old as an athlete. This is another friend of mine from Hawaii, 55-year-old natural health and skincare specialist. She said this, and I love it. This Neuro, the product we talked about, is a noticeable cognitive focus, clarity, memory, and energy boosting, get a ton of stuff done swish that she won't go a day without. And she says people will tell her she has attention deficit sort of issues sometimes, focus, I get that. And she takes this product and she's laser focused. This is Keith, another great friend of mine, 61, and he said he was suffering with discomfort in his neck and shoulder. Which I did an injury at the gym yesterday, so I'm feeling the same. And he said, I woke and I was sleeping all night long for the first time I had in a year, and all the discomfort has disappeared, which has got him back to exercising, which is awesome. And here's some amazing before and afters. This lady swears she did not lose any weight, but look at her neck, the difference. That's the collagen, right? 30 days. And look at the appearance of the redness, the fine lines, the pore size. Unbelievable from 4 weeks. Here's another example in different cultures. Linda from Ambon in Indonesia. She said her skin was dull and after 17 days looks softer and clear. You can see it straight away. And she also found she was more enthusiastic and slept deeper because of the NutraSwitch product. People say to me, should I use both? Let me ask a question. Would you, when you're cleaning the windows, would you clean the outside or the inside or both? Both. So you have a double effect when you're swishing at the same time as spraying. This is showing you all skin types. This lady's in her 80s in Nigeria, 3 to 4 times a week. And look at the melanin difference, which is making her skin look a lot more bright and toned. This lady, I love this because I wasn't spraying my neck for quite some time, just my face, and I've seen spectacular results at 57, but I realized my neck was getting a little turkey-like. So I started spraying it a few times a day and boom, just like this lady, it tightened right up pretty quick. I love this example. This is my friend who was involved with us before we launched Neumi. So 6 years ago, like me, she started experimenting with the product, and you can see what 6 years on the skincare looks like. She's 62. Holy moly. So every one of these testimonies you've seen are all contained in the one and only Facebook group that Neumi runs. If you see any other Facebook groups out there, they're nothing to do with Neumi. This is the official Neumi group where you can send anybody and join. You need to answer a couple of questions. Who invited you? Click agree to group rules. Once you're in there, you can see before and afters, testimonials, the works. So check that out. Our vision. Let's talk about what our vision is. So Stephen Scott is my beautiful friend that I talked about, who, Steve, if you don't know, was behind the Total Gym with billions in sales, one of the most influential people in direct response television in our age. He went into retirement, but then he came out of retirement because he said, I found the biggest breakthrough of my entire life. And that's when I got excited and helped him find some investors. This is our CEO, Aaron Rennett. And I've got to say, in the home-based business network marketing industry with 38 years experience, I've never worked with an executive who listens as much as Aaron. So that's one of the reasons for our rapid rise. Our Science and Medical Advisory Board. What you're going to hear about with our products, I said our products are not designed to treat, cure, or prevent anything. Behind the scenes, our Medical Advisory Board see results we'll never talk about that pale into insignificance the awesome things you will hear about, because these results of these products are so good. They've all used every other form of glutathione supplementation known to man. And I even know one of them that shut down their glutathione IV clinic saying this stuff's more effective. So amazing. So execution. We could have gone to the world through infomercials like Steve did in the past, but you know what? That cost millions in advertising. Instead, Steve said, let's put the millions in the pockets of the members. So home-based business stats, if you wonder if it's growing. During COVID, everyone was disrupted with their income, and even to this very day, everyone's nervous about their future. So home-based business grew like a rocket and continued to grow. During that period, we grew even faster. These slides are now outdated. We're in 74 countries. I just came back from Thailand and Taiwan, getting those countries kicked off as well. And we're exploding around the world. So many recognitions, so much growth everywhere. It's crazy. So let's talk about the opportunity now. Now, you might watch this and say, hey, I just want to get enough money back from referring a handful of people so I can get mine for free. Cool, easy done. We'll show you that. Or maybe you're saying, you know what? I'd like a little bit of residual income on the side, pay off the mortgage quicker, maybe have more holidays I can't afford right now. Or maybe like me, you've gone, I want to create something that I can will to my children that keeps paying the next generation. And that was the aim for me, a legacy asset. So let's talk about how to do that. Before we do that, I want to say this. Our products weren't designed to treat, cure, prevent anything. Our compensation plan is not a guarantee that everyone working exactly the same amount of hours will earn the same income. Lots of things affect it. Market conditions, your sales skills. Are you willing to learn new skills? Are you going to work harder than the other person? Do you have better relationships with people? So more people say yes to you than the other person. Who knows? So all I'm going to show you is hypothetics based on what a lot of people are doing around the world. Okay, so compensation plan. First thing to say, we have a very simple system, which is $1 equals a point. There's no dilution of funds. A lot of companies, if you don't understand this in the industry, they hide what they're paying by saying having a PV/BV dollar ratio. We took out the middle to make it transparent. We pay about 53 cents in the dollar. Go to the Business for Home website. Even some of the biggest companies in the world are paying 24 cents in the dollar. Some of them paying as high as 39. It's very rare to get as close as we do, and that's because of our cost of production. In fact, I'll show you this. If you took a kilogram of ingredients, traditional old-fashioned, nutrition, you'll make 200 to 400 bottles of this, and then you've got to work out how much profit you can give back. In our case, most of that goes down the toilet, as we've just shown. That's statistically proven. In our case, we take the same kilogram of ingredients and we can make 10,000 bottles of this, and everything absorbs. So we pay way more commissions than anybody, and we have our product about half the price of most people's competing products in the market as well, which is why we grow so fast. So the first one is our weekly commissions. Now, anyone you introduce, this is an industry term called sponsor. Anyone you sponsor, they will, when they make a purchase, you'll earn 25%, okay? And then who do they know that you don't know? So if they know someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone, you can get paid another 6 levels, 7 in total, with an extra 3% per those extra 3 generations. It's amazing. So that's how you can earn fast income from the day you start. You could be earning commission within 7 days from now. Then we go to the monthly commissions. To keep it simple, I know there are people who can come in and bring in thousands and hundreds of people. You don't need to. Let's boil it down. We kept it simple. If you go out and find 3 people that do the same as you, just purchase a couple of products each month, you'll earn an extra $50 from our Power of 3 bonus on top of your other bonuses, okay? And so that's step 1. Then what do we want you to do? Do we want you to go out and find 1,000 customers? No. You just help those 3 people to find 3. When you do that, you can earn $250 extra per month instead of the 50. With that goes the rank of senior member, which I'll show you in a minute. And then if you duplicate the 3 by 3 by 3 again, you can earn up to $1,500 from this one bonus. Now you could go at it like a bull at a gate, and you could be earning this within a couple of months if you wish. It depends on how fast you want to build it. That's not a bad income to be a cherry on top of all the other bonuses. So that's the roadmap. Now, by the way, I say 3 or more. You don't get taught how to build 3 wide. You get taught to be 3 to 6 wide with a minimum of 3. And that's how this works very, very well. Okay. The next bonus is a profit sharing bonus. And I love this. I've just come back from Taiwan, which is going to go berserk. Thailand, going to go berserk. You might be based somewhere else in the world and never, ever, ever have a business in those countries. But this is an international profit sharing system. We put 6% of global sales aside every month, and then 1% of each of that goes into different pools. If you hit the 2-star rank, you'll share in that pool, even from the countries your business is not in. Huge. Then go 3-star, another pool to share from, right up to crown. Okay. Now they're cumulative, meaning if you achieve crown, you get a share of that one and all the others as well. That's pretty amazing profit sharing. Now let's get to the back end of the compensation plan, which is called the uni level. Now people know of other uni levels in the market, but they don't generally pay as high as we do. Let me show you. As you become a new member, you instantly qualify for 3 levels deep, shown on the screen, of 7% for 3 generations. So that's the monthly commissions. Then, as you achieve a total turnover in your team of 1,500, you can earn level 4. Then when you get to 5,000 turnover as a 1-star, you'll unlock level 5, and then 6 at 2-star. And finally, none of those ranks had any requirements of any structural duplication yet. But then the real leadership levels kick in here, which is 3-star requires you to have helped 2 people, 2 separate businesses, to become 1-stars with a total turnover of 20,000. Now you've unlocked all 7 levels. It stays the same through diamond, double diamond, triple diamond to crown. A crown gets an extra % on the last level. But then where to from here? Well, only about a year ago, we added infinity bonuses on top. So we keep adding money to our compensation plan. Some companies are pulling back and going to affiliate models. We wrote a member bill of rights to protect your longevity in the company as long as you don't do any cross-recruiting activities. And we actually added more money, more money, more money. Reverse trend of the industry. So when you reach diamond, you can earn a 0.5% bonus from level 8 to infinity, which caps out at 2,500 a month. Then double diamond, 5,000, triple diamond, 10,000, and crown 15. Now that $15,000 is only one of the bonuses, not everything. So in other words, crowns earn a lot more than that. Now, the cool thing is, before I move forward, I can say, don't miss our Neumi Week event, which is happening in July. Get your tickets now, because there'll be an announcement in there that talks about, is there more money coming into the compensation plan? I don't know. Maybe you won't want to miss that event. Let's find out. So support and next steps. We have resources, technology, and weekly connection calls. So the resources, there are training videos from everything you could dream of. There are business planning tools. There is access to marketing assets. Technology-wise, we have a free Neumi app. Some companies charge you membership fees. We do not. 0 membership fees for life. Some companies charge you monthly subscriptions to access their products at wholesale. We charge nothing and you get them at wholesale, right? So we're ahead of every company in the industry that way. Plus, we give you a free app that companies charge for. We give it to you for nothing. And then we have company Facebook groups you can use as well. Weekly, we have events on Neumi.tv, which is where most people are now, except for the people on YouTube and social media. But that's how we keep the word out there, and multiple events every week. So as we wrap up, you have a few options. When you've watched this presentation, whether it's live or in the playbacks, you're either A or 1, ready to get started. Reach out to the person who invited you, said, get me registered, let's get going, show me the tools. 2, you want to try the product first. That's totally okay and understandable. Reach out to the person who invited you, get hold of some, and you're going to be blown away with the results. Or 3, you just want more information. Whatever answer you're looking for, every one of those can be answered for you if you wish. And as I wrap up, I just want to say thank you for attending today and remind you, if you don't have your Neumi Week ticket yet, get it now, because there's going to be a lineup of amazing events throughout an entire week during July, and you want to get your tickets now so you don't miss out. So in line with what we always say, people are in 74 countries watching this right now. So